Bone, we got to start off with some rare bad news as Daxton Hill, the outstanding 5-star safety from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Booker T. Washington High School, visited Michigan over the weekend. From what I've been able to gather, Alabama has long been thought to be the leader, but then last night, Hill pulled the trigger for the Wolverines. Did that catch you off guard at all?
Not really. We've been hearing for a long time that it was a really close battle between Alabama and Michigan, and once he took that official visit to Alabama back in, I believe it was about mid-June, it seemed like Alabama had gained the lead. And we see that a lot. A lot of times when kids come back from official visits, they're so high on those programs that those schools end up becoming the favorite. And then it starts to, maybe die back down a little bit. He starts taking some more visits, talks to coaches and stuff like that, and tries to determine what he wants to do. And, I would say for the last month or so, I've been saying on our board that even though it seemed like a lot of people were predicting Alabama, I'd been telling everybody on our board, on Bama Insider, that it was a lot closer than what people realized, that Michigan was certainly a very, very strong contender. And I warned people, I said, when he goes on this trip to Michigan, if he comes back and, there's a good chance that he can make a decision shortly afterwards. And that's what he did. Now, obviously, he's a great player. He's a 5-star recruit. He's the number one safety in the country. Alabama would have loved to have him. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he was certainly one of those kids that Alabama would have gladly accepted in their class. But at the same time, Alabama has 3 safety commitments in this 2019 class. And I know if people look at the board and they may say, oh, we only see 1 safety committed. Well, there's one kid who's listed as an athlete, DeMarco Helms. He's actually recruited as a safety. You have Christian Williams out of Daphne, who's listed as a cornerback, he's actually the one, I think, listed as a safety. And then you have Brandon Turnage out of Oxford, Mississippi, who's listed as a cornerback, but actually recruited as a safety. So you have 3 safeties in Alabama's recruiting classes. With Dax Hill going to Michigan, it was one of those cases where he was just an elite player. It didn't matter that he was a safety. He was just an elite player that Alabama wasn't going to turn away. So a lot of people have been asking, well, what's Alabama going to do at safety now? Who are they going to go after? They're not going to go after anybody. This is it. They've got their 3 safeties. He was just an extra guy that they would have loved to have, but they're done at the safety position. I still think they're going to try to get at least 1 cornerback in this class. And I think the guy who I would probably bet my money on is Nola Pola Gates, the 4-star DB out of Arizona. We've talked about him a lot on the show. We talked about him a lot on BamaInsider.com. There's some other defensive backs that are out there that a lot of people think that Alabama may have a chance to flip, like an Akeem Dent out of Florida, committed to Florida State. I've spent some time with Akeem Dent. I've talked to him. I think Alabama's a long way away from that happening. But I think Alabama probably will get 1 more defense back in this class, and my best bet is Nola Pola Gates at this time.
Andrew Bone, our recruiting go-to guy from Rivals.com, with us on the Bud Light Hotline powered by Adams Beverages. You answered that terrific. And the reason I say that is you kind of made it clear how good a position Alabama's in defensive back recruiting. The reason I say that, and I know you're all part of the same network, but you know how it is. You cover the Southeast and Alabama, and that's the base that you're writing for more times than not. Your colleague, Josh Helmholt, who is a Midwest reporter for Rivals, listen, Alabama's the gold standard, Bone. You know it, in recruiting, on the field production. Michigan is hit some tough times with Harbaugh not living up to expectations. They lose to Notre Dame early. But I just thought this was interesting to get a shot in at Alabama. Helmholt writes, it's a big pickup for Michigan, clearly. But here's a shot. Says it's not that big a deal for Oklahoma. They've got a top 10 class with just 18 commitments. Home state school still has to be respected for potential to reemerge. But the school that is reeling The program that's reeling the most from this commitment is Alabama. Alabama definitely is the program that's reeling the most from this commitment. Give me a break. You know this guy?
Yeah, I do. And he may also be looking at it as, he doesn't cover Alabama like I do. He doesn't know the kids like I do, and he doesn't know, maybe where some kids are being recruited to play like I do. So, he looks at Alabama's recruiting class and he sees one safety commitment. That's easy to see, for an outsider. But, for the ones who actually cover the team and know everything about the team, they also know that, Alabama has 3 safety commitments. And, but I will say this: if you did go on a message board, the one fan base who probably is reeling, who probably is more upset than any other fan base, is probably the Alabama fan base. I mean, Alabama fans were really excited about Dax Hill. They felt like he was going to be part of this recruiting class. I mean, there were a lot of people predicting Dax Hill to Alabama. Luckily, I wasn't one of them. Of course, I never really said where he was going to go. All I said was I thought it was very tight between the two schools, between Alabama and Auburn, or between Alabama and Michigan. But he's a great kid. He's a great prospect. He's got a chance to be a really special college football player. At the same time, Alabama's got some great defensive backs committed, and I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, Alabama fans, they want to get them all. They don't understand that there's limits. There's 85 total, 25 a year. They want to sign, the top 100 every year. But he's doing his job. I just thought it was a shot. Listen, Michigan fans are still butthurt over Najee Harris. You know that, Bone. They're never going to get over that one. And the way I took it reading the column, it's a big pickup for Michigan. But hey, we beat Alabama. Every time you beat Alabama on a kid, that's got to be put into the story. You know what I mean? It's one thing to get a recruit. Yeah. It's another thing when you beat Nick Saban, you got to milk it. And I thought that's what he was doing.
Oh yeah, and I actually saw a kid commit to USC the other day, and it was funny because I saw a few people tweet out that he had named his top 4 schools, and he was set for his announcement, and it was USC and a couple of other West Coast schools, and then Alabama. And it was funny because I had never heard of the kid. I had not one single time had ever mentioned his name on our message board. And I've mentioned a lot of names, and I feel like I'm pretty connected in terms of I know who Alabama's recruiting, and this kid was never ever mentioned on our message board, or probably any Alabama message board or recruiting site. And then all of a sudden you see Alabama's in your top 4. So you get some kids like that sometimes who, and of course the local media loves it to talk about, he picked this school or that school over Alabama, just for some more media attention.
Alabama fans are getting a little restless now. They're wanting a commitment. I always ask each week for commitment watch. Anybody, of course, obviously. They lose out on the 5-star safety, who we just discussed, that goes to Michigan. But anybody else that we should be watching closely, that's due to make a commitment soon, that Alabama's in the mix with?
Well, like I said, a lot of these kids, we've been saying this for, it seems like for the last month or so now, that you just never know when a kid may commit. We kind of knew Dax Hill was going to make a decision. Even though we weren't sure if he was going to go to Alabama or Michigan, we knew shortly after that official visit to Michigan that his mind was probably going to be made up. We've talked about Trey Sanders possibly making a decision, but at the same time, he could wait until signing day. Alabama's going to have some big visitors on campus this weekend. A lot of big name recruits, including Kayvon Thibodeau, number 4 overall player in the country,
mm-hmm.
5-star defensive end, outside linebacker out of California. It's going to be a big visit for him because this is going to be his official visit. This is going to be his 3rd trip to Alabama this year. A lot of people think it's between Alabama and Florida State. He's already taken his official visit to Florida State. So we'll see if possibly he may make a decision shortly afterwards. Now, there's still some other schools that are in the mix here, like USC, and he may take some visits down the road still. But I think that this weekend's going to be huge for him. Another big visitor that we're going to see in Tuscaloosa this weekend, Rondell Robinson, 4-star wide receiver out of Kentucky. Earned an offer from Alabama at the Tide camp. earlier this year, and then came back for the Champions Cookout in July. Alabama really likes this kid a lot. Now, Alabama does have one wide receiver commitment, John Mechie, out of New Jersey. I don't think they're going to take any more than two wide receivers in this class. So, I think they're going to have to make some tough decisions. There's no doubt about it, because Robinson, smaller type guy, very explosive, kind of reminds me a lot of Jalen Waddle. Got a lot of similar characteristics, and their size is about the same. So, will Alabama go ahead and take him, or will they decide to, maybe hold off and wait and see if they can possibly get, possibly flip a guy like George Pickens or get a Jameson Williams, a four-star wide receiver out of St. Louis, who's expected to come down for an official next month. So Alabama's got some tough decisions ahead, especially at the wide receiver position. If Rondell Robinson gets ready to make a decision here pretty soon.
I'm looking at the Rivals 250 right now. As Andrew Bonus with us on the Bud Light Hotline here on the Gary Harris Show. I want to ask you about a few guys that Alabama's involved with. You mentioned Thibodeau already. Trey Sanders, I just keep hearing that it's just a matter of when he commits to Alabama, the running back out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Is he still strongly on top with the Tide there, or has anything changed?
Yeah, that seems like the case. I think you always have to worry sometimes, though, when a kid may tell you, so many times, I'm coming there, and then he just continues to hold off from making a decision. I think you sometimes have to worry about that a little bit. He took an official visit to Texas this past weekend. He hasn't scheduled his official to Alabama yet, but we know he's at least going to be in Tuscaloosa at some point. Probably not this weekend. IMG Academy plays on the West Coast this weekend at Mater Day High School. So two heavyweight programs going after each other. So we'll probably won't see any IMG Academy kids in Tuscaloosa this weekend. But yeah, I still think Alabama's the team to beat. But it's a long way from him announcing. I think that's why Alabama's continuing to recruit other running backs, and we're seeing some other backs starting to set up visits to Alabama. Tyrion Davis, the LSU commitment, saying that he's going to be in Tuscaloosa for his official visit on December the 15th. We've seen some other guys, DeAndre Glass out of Katy, Texas, who's probably going to make it official at Alabama. Jerion Ely committed to Ole Miss out of Jackson, Mississippi. He's also probably going to be back in Tuscaloosa at some point this season. So Alabama's still looking for one more running back in this class, and obviously Trey Sanders probably at the top of the list. They really want him. They think they've got him, but you also have to have some backup options just in case he ends up going elsewhere.
Sanders is ranked number 6 on the Rivals 250. The defensive tackle, Ismail Sopsher out of Louisiana, number 8. LSU's off to a surprisingly great start. I don't think anybody thought they'd be 3-0 after those first 3 games. Is this an Alabama-LSU battle here, or are other schools involved as well?
Other schools are involved, including Texas A&M, but at the end of the day, I think it will be between Alabama and LSU. Now, we have some people on our board who are pretty positive and who will swear by it that Alabama's going to get Sopsher's commitment. I'm not there yet. I still think, gun to my head, I probably have to say LSU, but I think it's very close. I think he really likes Alabama a lot. I think the biggest thing is just him getting back to Tuscaloosa. He hadn't been back. He didn't make it back to Tuscaloosa the entire summer. He went to LSU a few times, but didn't make it the entire summer. The last time he was in Tuscaloosa was back during the spring. So they really just need to get him back on campus. And there's a chance that he comes back to Alabama this weekend for the A&M game. It's not set in stone just yet, but once it is, we'll let everyone know on Bama Insider about that. But yeah, Alabama just needs to get him back on campus and get him in town for an official visit. Alabama's got a great defensive line class. Very strong, but they really need to get 1 or 2 more guys, to really put it over the top.
let's talk about Darnell Wright, number 4 on Rivals' top 250 list, the offensive tackle out of Huntington, West Virginia. It wasn't that long ago, back in the summer, that Alabama looked like the clear leader. At least that's what I gathered, and now doesn't seem to be the case. I know Tennessee's pushing hard there. Some other schools too. Is this a guy that Alabama's on the outside looking in on now?
I don't think so. I have some really good connections with at his program, and I feel like that Alabama's still probably in the driver's seat right now. Of course, it's a long way to go. He's going to go to Tennessee this weekend instead of making it down to Tuscaloosa, and there were just some factors in there that played into that. He just wasn't able to make it all the way down to Tuscaloosa. So I certainly expect him back in Alabama a few more times, probably for a game and probably for an official visit down the road. I definitely think that Alabama is in very good shape with him, but at the same time, Alabama's probably only going to take. I really can't see them taking 3 more offensive linemen. I know we've talked about it a lot, that they would really like to get Darnell Wright, Clay Webb, and Evan Neal, all 3 guys, 5-star linemen. Evan Neal, the 5-star offensive tackle out of IMG Academy, Clay Webb, the 5-star offensive lineman out of Oxford High School here in Alabama. So those are the 3 guys that Alabama's focused in on, and I think Alabama ends up getting two of the 3. And it's kind of up in the air which 2 they're going to get right now, but I definitely think they end up getting 2, and we'll see what happens down the road. But I do think Alabama still remains in a very good position with Darnell Wright. He has a tremendous relationship with Alabama offensive line coach Brent Key. Now, there's some other schools outside of Tennessee. There's some other schools that are heavily involved with him. Clemson, Ohio State. Now, I know he's visited Georgia, but I don't see him going to Georgia. I think Georgia's depth at the tackle position is probably going to, probably going to put them on the outside. But if I think as of right now, it probably will end up coming down to Alabama and Tennessee. But right now, I still give Alabama the edge. Tennessee, definitely right there though. But you never know what may happen. You see a guy like Evan Neal, who's also considered one of the best offensive tackles in the country. You see him possibly commit to Alabama before Darnell Wright. Darnell could possibly look at that and say, all right, well, maybe it's best for me to go to Tennessee because Alabama with, Pierce Quick and Amari Kite and Evan Neal, that's 3 offensive tackles in Alabama's 2019 class. You may one of the other top offensive tackles in the country may decide they want to go elsewhere.
You referenced Clay Webb. I guess that's the guy that, most Alabama fans seem focused on as far as the dreaded got to get Clay Webb, must get, can't lose Clay Webb, the center guard from Oxford High School here in Alabama. And you said last week he's gonna take this thing down to the wire. It looks like, and I still feel like it's going to be Alabama when all is said and done. But it's by no means a given right now, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. And I know how Alabama fans feel. I mean, they want to get every top recruit in the country, but they certainly want to get every top recruit in the state of Alabama. And Clay Webb's certainly an elite player, great kid. But at the same time, I think Alabama's offensive line class is really good. I mean, when they got Darian Dalcourt out of Baltimore, I thought that was a huge pickup because you got a really, really good interior lineman. Mm-hmm. Tanner Bowles out of Kentucky, they really liked him a lot. And also Pierce Quick. I know we talked about Pierce a few minutes ago as a tackle, but Pierce Quick is also one of those guys that you can move inside, that you can move to guard or you can move to center. He worked at both positions at Alabama's camp during the summer, and I think they were really impressed with what they saw out of Pierce Quick. So I'm not necessarily sure that if Clay Webb ended up going elsewhere, if that's going to be as big of a loss as a lot of people may assume. I don't think it would be as big of a loss as, let's say, Justin Ross leaving the state last year, going to Clemson instead of Alabama. I mean, I just think Alabama's recruited extremely well at the offensive line position, and Clay, wants to play guard in college. He doesn't want to play center. And, Alabama really trying to find would really like to find a center in this class. And Darian Dalcourt, possibly can play that position. But don't get me wrong, Alabama still wants Clay. They would love for him to be a part of the class, but I just don't think it would be as big of a loss as maybe some other players if they end up going elsewhere.
Great stuff as always from Andrew Bone, folks. I mean, this guy, he's on top of it. Bone, go ahead and give the listeners all the information on how they can keep up with your recruiting info.
Well, please follow us at BamaInsider.com, which is part of the Rivals.com network. We're offering a 30-day free trial subscription right now. So go on there, sign up, check it out for 30 days. If you don't like it, you can leave. But I got a good feeling that once you sign up for it, you won't go away. And always follow my stuff on my Twitter handle at Andrew J. Bone.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Bone.
All right, Gary, thanks.